Today, Toyota is one of the most powerful names in the automotive world. But to truly understand how this giant was born, we need to travel back almost a century, to a time when Japan was a very different place. In the early 1900s, Japan was growing, industrializing, and learning from the Western world. Cars were already rolling across American and European streets, but in Japan, automobiles were still rare, often imported, and far too expensive for the average person. At that time, Japan's industries were focused mainly on textiles. One of the most respected inventors of the era was Kiichiro Toyoda, a man known as the king of Japanese inventors. He revolutionized the weaving industry with his automatic looms, machines that could stop automatically if a thread broke. This innovation saved time, reduced waste, and set a new standard for efficiency. But Kiichiro Toyoda's vision was even bigger. He believed Japan could transform itself with technology, and he passed this spirit of innovation on to his son, Kiichiro Toyoda. Kiichiro was not just an engineer, he was a dreamer who loved machines. In the late 1920s, when the Toyota company sold the patent rights of Kiichiro's loom technology to a British firm, they received a large amount of money. Instead of simply reinvesting into textiles, Kiichiro saw an opportunity. He had studied abroad, traveled to Europe and America, and witnessed the rise of automobiles firsthand. He visited car factories, studied assembly lines, and realized that cars were not just machines, they were the future. And he wanted Japan to have its own cars, built by Japanese hands for Japanese roads. In 1933, Kiichiro convinced his family company to create an automobile division inside Toyota Automatic Loom Works. It was a bold decision. After all, no Japanese company had successfully built cars at scale. But Kiichiro was determined. He gathered a small team of engineers and began experimenting. Their first goal was to build a prototype car. In May 1935, after endless hours of trial and error, the team built 3 prototypes known as the A1. These cars were heavily inspired by American designs. Parts of Chevrolet and Ford were studied, dismantled, and re-engineered. The A1 was not perfect, but it was proof that Japan could create its own car. Kiichiro and his team even drove one prototype to his father's grave as a symbolic gesture, showing respect and declaring that a new chapter had begun. Building a working prototype was one thing, but launching a mass-production passenger car was a much greater challenge. In 1936, Toyota introduced its very first production model, the Toyota AA. The AA was sleek for its time, with smooth, streamlined curves, influenced by American cars like the Chrysler Airflow. It was designed to seat families comfortably, with enough space in the back for passengers to ride with dignity. Beneath its body sat a 3.4-liter inline 6-cylinder engine, producing around 65 horsepower. It wasn't the fastest car in the world, but it was reliable, durable, and built with the Japanese market in mind. In July 1936, the Toyota AA was officially announced in Nagoya and later displayed in Tokyo. Its price was set at around 3,350 yen, far cheaper than many imported cars, making it more accessible for the growing Japanese middle class. By 1942, about 1,400 units had been built. For a first attempt, this was a huge success. But there was more to this car than just its design. The AA represented a national dream, the dream of independence from foreign technology. Japan no longer had to rely entirely on imported automobiles. For the first time, there was a Japanese car company creating vehicles for Japanese roads. Around this time, another important change happened. The company decided to change its name from Toyota to Toyoda. Why? Because in Japanese writing, Toyota required 8 brushstrokes, and 8 is considered a lucky number. The new name was also easier to pronounce and looked modern, perfect for a brand entering a new industry. In 1937, Toyota Motor Company was officially established. Of course, the early years were full of challenges. Steel and raw materials were expensive. Japanese roads and infrastructure were not fully ready for cars. And soon, the world was heading toward war. During World War II, Toyota shifted its focus to producing trucks for the military, as passenger car production slowed down. But even in those difficult times, Kiichiro held on to his dream, that one day Toyota would be a global leader in automobiles. What made Toyota different from others was not just its cars, but its philosophy. Even in those early years, Kiichiro emphasized efficiency and quality. He believed that mistakes should never pass down the production line, and waste should always be minimized. These ideas later evolved into the famous Toyota production system, a model that changed manufacturing worldwide. The legacy of the Toyota AA went beyond its physical form. It showed that Japanese engineers could compete with the West. It gave Japan the confidence to grow its automotive industry, and it laid the foundation for future Toyota legends, from the rugged Land Cruiser to the affordable Corolla, and later, the groundbreaking Prius. One fascinating detail about the AA is how closely it mirrored American cars of its time. Toyota engineers actually purchased a Chrysler Airflow, dismantled it piece by piece, and studied how it worked. They learned fast, adapting foreign ideas to local needs. This mix of borrowing, improving, and innovating became a Toyota trademark. But success didn't come overnight. After the war, Japan was devastated. Factories were damaged, resources were scarce, and the economy was broken. In those years, Toyota struggled to survive. At one point, Kiichiro Toyoda even offered to resign, feeling he had failed his workers. Yet, the company slowly rebuilt, and by the 1950s, Toyota launched cars like the Crown, which eventually reached international markets. From that point, Toyota never looked back. The Corolla became the best-selling car in the world. The Land Cruiser became a symbol of reliability across deserts, mountains, and jungles. The Prius became a pioneer of hybrid technology, and the company's reputation for durability and trust grew with every passing decade. But all of this began with one simple belief: that Japan deserved its own car. The Toyota AA may not have been the fastest or the flashiest, but it was the spark that lit the fire. Today, Toyota stands as one of the biggest car manufacturers in the world, selling millions of vehicles each year across every continent. Its journey from a small loom company to a global automotive empire reminds us of one powerful truth: every great achievement begins with a single step. The story of Toyota's first car is not just about engineering. It's about vision, persistence, and the courage to take risks when no one believes in you. So, the next time you see a Toyota Corolla, Camry, Land Cruiser, or Prius on the road, remember that it all started nearly 90 years ago with Kiichiro Toyoda's dream, the company's very first prototype, and a car called the Toyota AA.